Let me start with a simple idea, a simple sentence. But if you understand it, it might just change your life. Be a thinker, not a reactor. Most people don't realize it, but they spend their whole lives reacting to traffic, reacting to stress, reacting to bills, reacting to criticism, reacting to the problems of yesterday and the worries of tomorrow. And here's the danger. A reactive life is an out-of-control life. When you react, you surrender control. You give power to circumstances. You give power to other people's emotions. You give power to whatever happens around you. But a thinker is different. A thinker pauses. A thinker observes. A thinker chooses. A thinker doesn't ask, what's happening to me? A thinker asks, what can I do about it? That's the shift. That's the beginning of wisdom. My mentor once told me, Jim, life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. You get wiser. You get better at thinking. And he was right. Because the moment you learn to think instead of react, you gain something priceless. Self-control, clarity, direction. Thinking gives you leverage. Thinking gives you options. Thinking gives you power. So today, I want to show you something important. How to move from the world of reactors into the world of thinkers. Because the thinkers, they're the ones who rise. They're the ones who lead. They're the ones who build a life on purpose, not on accident. And if you want to change your life, if you want to step into strength, into confidence, into clarity, then you must begin with this. Stop reacting. Start thinking. Let's begin with something simple, but not easy. Most people live on automatic mode. They wake up and the day pushes them. They respond to whatever comes their way. They react to noise, stress, problems, and people. But thinking, real thinking, that requires intention. That requires awareness. That requires that little pause, that moment between what happens and what you choose to do next. Now here's the truth. There's a world of difference between reacting and thinking. Reactions are quick, instant, emotional. Thinking is slow, deliberate, controlled. Reactions are survival. Thinking is strategy. Reactions solve the moment. Thinking shapes the future. And if you ever want to rise above average, if you ever want to gain control over your life, you must learn this skill, the skill of thinking your way through. Most people react their way into problems. Think about it. Most people don't lose because they're not smart. They lose because they react. They react in anger and ruin relationships. They react in fear and miss opportunities. They react in doubt and never start what they should have started years ago. One moment of reaction can undo years of effort. One moment of emotional impulse can destroy peace, momentum, and progress. My mentor used to say, Jim, don't make permanent decisions in temporary emotions. And I never forgot that. When you react, emotions make the decision. When you think, wisdom makes the decision. That's the difference. That's the separation. That's what takes you from ordinary to extraordinary. Now let's talk about the thinker, because thinkers operate in a completely different world. A thinker pauses. A thinker steps back. A thinker asks questions. What's really happening here? What's the best move? What are my options? Is this worth my energy? Is this worth my peace? See, thinkers don't jump at every emotion. They don't chase every fight. They don't let every voice on the street guide their path. A thinker saves energy. A thinker guards emotion. A thinker protects time. A thinker chooses battles. And because of that, a thinker builds a stronger life, a clearer life, a more stable life. Thinkers don't live by accident. They live by direction, by intention, by design, and all of that comes from one ability, the ability to think before reacting. Why people react instead of think? You may wonder, if thinking is so powerful, why doesn't everyone do it? Simple. Because thinking takes effort. Thinking takes maturity. Thinking takes discipline. Thinking takes self-control. It's easy to react. It's easy to speak without thinking. It's easy to let anger decide. It's easy to let fear guide. Thinking, that demands responsibility, ownership, awareness. That's why so many people skip the thinking part. They rush. They hurry. They panic. They let life dictate. They let emotions dominate. They let pressure push them around. Reacting requires no training. Thinking requires practice. Reacting is instinct. Thinking is mastery. And mastery is rare. But that's exactly what makes it valuable. Here's something powerful. Every decision you make builds your future, your finances, your relationships, your reputation, your health, your peace, your destiny, and all the big parts of life are shaped by small decisions. So if you want a better future, you need better decisions. And if you want better decisions, you must learn to think carefully, wisely, intentionally. Thinking asks, what will this cost me? What will this give me? Where does this lead? Reactions never ask those questions. Reactions don't think past the moment. But thinkers see the future before it arrives. They see consequences before they show up. They slow down long enough to understand. And that's why thinkers win in the long run. Because thinking compounds, good decisions multiply. Thinking creates order. Thinking creates discipline. Thinking creates clarity. And clarity is a superpower. The first step to becoming a thinker. So what's the first step? Awareness, recognition, observation. You must start catching yourself. You must start noticing your own reactions. When anger rises, pause. When fear steps in, breathe. When pressure comes, observe. When someone pulls your emotion, detach. The moment you pause, you shift from reacting to thinking. And that single moment, that tiny little second, that's where power begins. In that pause, you get to choose. You get to think. You get to act with clarity. And when you do that, life changes. You speak better. You decide better. You treat people better. You treat yourself better. Because thinkers don't rush through life. They move with intention. They act with purpose. They respond with wisdom. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control how you think about it. Your reaction belongs to the world. Your thinking belongs to you. Stop giving your power away through reaction. Start taking your power back through thinking. Because the day you choose to become a thinker is the day you begin to build a stronger, wiser, more powerful life. Next, the power of pausing. Because the pause is where wisdom lives. Let me say that again. The pause is where wisdom lives. Between what happens and how you respond, there is a little space, and in that space, your entire life can change. The strength of a simple pause. Most people don't pause. They explode. They panic. They rush. They overreact. Why? Because reacting is automatic. But pausing, that requires intention. Pausing is a sign of maturity. It tells your emotions, sit down for a moment. We're not acting yet. Pausing is a sign of strength. It says to pressure, you don't control me. I decide when I move. Pausing is a sign of wisdom. It gives you time to see clearly, think clearly, feel clearly. Because when the mind is calm, answers rise. Solutions appear. Direction becomes obvious. Let me tell you a story. One day, years ago, a business deal I was excited about suddenly fell apart. I felt anger rising, stress rising, frustration rising. My first instinct? Pick up the phone, call someone, fix something, force something. But my mentor stopped me. He said, Jim, not yet. I said, but this is urgent. He replied, no, this is emotional. I've never forgotten that sentence because it taught me something life-changing. When emotions are high, wisdom is low. He told me, go for a walk, clear your head, let time do its work. So I did. I walked, I breathed. I thought. And somewhere along that walk, my anger settled. My frustration calmed. My thoughts became sharper. I found a better solution, a smarter move, a wiser path, all because I paused. That deal falling apart felt like the end, but the pause turned it into a beginning of something better. And that's the magic of pausing. It turns chaos into clarity. It turns pressure into perspective. It turns reaction into wisdom. Why pausing works? Pausing works because it shifts your brain. It moves you from emotional mode to thinking mode. When you react, you use instinct, impulse, old habits, old patterns. But when you pause, you activate something higher, something smarter, something more deliberate. The pause gives your mind oxygen, space, room to operate. The pause creates separation between you and your emotions. You are no longer the anger. You are the observer of the anger. You are no longer the fear. You are the thinker examining the fear. And from that position of clarity, your decisions improve. Your words improve. Your actions improve. And when your decisions improve, your life improves. That is the chain. Always remember the chain. Pause, think, act, improve. Your pause reveals your power. A person who cannot pause is a person who cannot choose. They are pulled by emotion, pushed by stress, dragged by fear, guided by impulse. But a person who pauses has mastered the moment. Pausing means, I decide, not my anger, not my fear, not my pressure, not the world. The pause is proof that you are in control. And let me tell you, control is priceless. Control builds confidence. Control builds character. Control builds a better, wiser you. Because when you can control the small moments, you can control the big ones. The pause doesn't make you weak. Some people think pausing is hesitation, or indecision, or weakness. Not true. Pausing is preparation. Pausing is reflection. Pausing is strength. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who shout the loudest or move the fastest. They are the ones who know when to wait, when to think, when to breathe, when to evaluate before they engage. The pause is not a delay. The pause is an investment. You invest a small moment now to avoid a big mistake later. You invest a few seconds of thinking to save months of repairing. That is wisdom. That is maturity. That is mastery. How to practice the pause. Let me teach you a simple habit. It has saved me from many mistakes. Whenever something triggers you, a comment, a problem, an email, a setback, do this. Pause. Just for a moment. Just long enough to breathe. In that breath, ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this worth my reaction? What is the smartest response? What would future me want me to do? Those questions don't require an hour. They require a pause, a few seconds, a moment, a breath. And that small breath can keep you from saying something harmful, can keep you from doing something foolish, can keep you from choosing something destructive. The pause becomes your shield, your filter, your protection. Let me say it plainly. Space creates wisdom. Space helps you see beyond emotion. Space gives you perspective. Space gives you strategy. When you pause, you step out of the problem and into the solution. When you pause, you stop living in reaction and start living in intention. That is the difference between a person who survives the day and a person who shapes the day. Pause more, think more, choose more. Because the pause is where your best life begins, where the transformation begins. Because thinkers, real thinkers, build stronger decisions. And those decisions build stronger lives. Let me say it simply. Your life is the sum of your decisions. Every choice you make adds a brick to the structure of your future. And the thinkers, they choose those bricks carefully. They build deliberately. They build wisely. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned was this: you don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. But before habits, before routines, before outcomes, there is a decision, a choice, a moment, a thought. And thinkers know that every decision matters. Every decision compounds. Thinkers don't wait for life to push them. They set direction. They choose path. They think ahead. And because they think ahead, they live ahead. Reactive people live in emergencies. Let's contrast this. Reactive people live in chaos. They're always in a hurry, always behind schedule, always stressed. They aim after they shoot. They apologize after they explode. They plan after things fall apart. Life becomes a series of emergencies, not because life is chaotic, but because they are. When you react constantly, you make decisions in the dark. You choose without clarity. You respond without direction. You move without purpose. And decisions made in confusion lead to more confusion. That's why reactive people always feel stuck, always feel overwhelmed, always feel out of control. They're responding to life. Instead of creating life, thinkers don't guess. They evaluate. Thinkers approach decisions with a different posture, a calmer posture, a wiser posture. They evaluate. They examine. They reflect. Before they commit, they step back. Before they say yes, they consider the no. Before they act, they think. A thinker asks, what are the consequences? What is the cost? What is the long-term effect? Is this aligned with where I want to go? These questions don't take hours. Only a moment. Only a pause. But those small moments save years of regret. A story. The decision that saved me years. Let me share a personal moment. Years ago, someone offered me a partnership. On paper, it looked incredible, exciting, profitable, fast-moving. My emotions said, Jim, do it. This is the chance you've been waiting for. But something inside me whispered, pause. So I did. I stepped back. I thought it over. I asked myself the hard questions. Does this align with who I want to become? Does this partner match my values? Am I making this decision out of excitement or wisdom? And the more I thought, the clearer it became. It was a tempting opportunity, but the wrong fit. I said no. It wasn't easy. It wasn't obvious, but it was right. Years later, that same partnership collapsed. Arguments, legal battles, debt. One decision, one moment of thinking saved me years of trouble. And that's what thinking does. It protects your future. It guards your path. It keeps you out of avoidable storms. Thinkers don't just ask, what feels good now? They ask, what will this lead to later? They think about the long term, the long path, the long consequences. Anyone can choose the easy thing today, but thinkers choose the right thing for tomorrow. That's why thinkers grow. That's why thinkers mature. That's why thinkers rise. Because they're investing in a future most people aren't even thinking about. Thinking is a long-term habit that produces long-term success. Let me give you a simple rule. Thinkers guard their time. They don't give it away to everything. And everyone. They evaluate commitments. They choose projects carefully. They reserve energy for what matters. Because they understand something crucial. Your time is your life. Give away your time, and you give away your life. Reactive people waste energy. Thinkers invest energy, and investments grow. Waste does not. Thinking isn't just about smarter decisions. It's about becoming a better person. Thinking builds discipline. Thinking builds patience. Thinking builds humility. Thinking forces you to confront your emotions, to consider your motives, to examine your behavior. It makes you honest. It makes you intentional. It makes you responsible. And those qualities, those rare qualities, build a life you can be proud of, a life of strength, a life of clarity, a life of wisdom. Let me summarize the advantage. Reactive people act fast, but regret often. Thinkers act wisely, and regret rarely. Reactive people say, I didn't mean to do that. Thinkers say, I meant every step. Reactive people feel controlled by life. Thinkers feel guided by purpose. Reactive people play catch-up. Thinkers play ahead. This is not intelligence. This is not talent. This is not luck. This is thinking. And anyone can learn it. Anyone can practice it. Anyone can master it. Your life will always rise or fall based on the decisions you make. And the quality of your decisions will always rise or fall based on the quality of your thinking. So think more. Pause more. Choose with intention. Thinkers build strong decisions. Strong decisions build strong lives. And strong lives are lived by people who choose wisdom over reaction every single day. Let me tell you something, my friend. A thinker is not born. A thinker is trained by habits, trained by intention, trained by the quiet disciplines repeated every single day. You don't stumble into clarity. You build it. You construct it thought by thought, habit by habit, day by day. Most people want clarity. Few people practice clarity. Most people want strength, but they don't practice the habits that build it. Remember this line. Your mind becomes what you repeatedly feed it. Not occasionally. Not when life gets tough. Every day. So let's talk about it. The daily habits of the thinker. The habits that sharpen your understanding, strengthen your spirit, and help you rise above a world that reacts without thinking. Because once you master these habits, you won't just think differently. You'll live differently. Habit 1, the morning mind check. Before the world pulls at you, before the noise enters, before the opinions, the complaints, the drama come knocking, take a moment. A quiet one, a simple one. Sit still, breathe. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I intend to be today? Not what the world needs you to do. Not what emergencies demand. Not what distractions attempt. Who do you intend to be? Calm, focused, patient, disciplined, thoughtful? Most people start their day with urgency. Thinkers start with intention. Because when you set your mind before the world sets it for you, you stay in control. You stay aware. You stay grounded. As I often say, either you run the day or the day runs you. A thinker chooses to run it, and it begins with a morning mind check. Habit 2, the discipline of listening. A thinker listens before speaking, listens before deciding, listens before reacting, because wisdom doesn't come from always having something to say. Wisdom comes from hearing what others miss. Wisdom comes from observing what others ignore. Most people listen to respond. Thinkers listen to understand. Most people listen to defend. Thinkers listen to learn. Practice listening to the people around you, to the tone behind the words, to the patterns in your life, to your own thoughts. Listening is not passive. It is powerful. It is active. It is a daily discipline, because when you listen well, you think well. And when you think well, you live well. Habit 3, the daily pause. We spoke earlier about the power of pausing, but now it becomes a habit, a practice, a daily ritual. A thinker builds pauses throughout the day. Short ones, simple ones, moments to breathe, moments to notice, moments to step back from the noise. Pause before you respond to criticism. Pause before you judge. Pause before you say yes to something that deserves a no. Pause before sending that message, taking that action, or making that decision. You may only need 5 seconds, but 5 seconds of thinking can save you 5 hours, 5 days, even 5 years of regret. The pause is powerful. Use it daily, because the mind that pauses becomes a mind that sees. Habit 4, feeding the mind with quality. Just like the body, the mind needs nutrition. And the question is, are you feeding it junk or feeding it value? A thinker does not let anything enter the mind. No, a thinker selects, chooses, filters, books that teach, voices that strengthen, ideas that elevate, wisdom that nourishes. Be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you watch. Be careful what you follow. Not everything deserves a place in your mind, because what you consume becomes what you think, and what you think becomes what you live. Stand guard at the door of your mind. That discipline alone could change your entire life. Habit 5, reflection, the thinker's nighttime ritual. At the end of the day, a thinker doesn't just collapse into sleep. They reflect. They review. They look back not to judge themselves, but to understand themselves. What did I learn today? What did I do well? What could I do better? Did I think or did I react? Reflection is the practice of wisdom. It sharpens awareness. It builds maturity. It strengthens discipline. Most people go through their days repeating the same mistakes. Thinkers learn from their days, then improve the next one. Reflection turns experience into insight. Insight turns insight into action. And action turns action into transformation. Habit 6, protecting your energy and environment. A thinker understands something crucial. Your environment shapes your thinking. Keep people around you who challenge your thoughts, not those who drain your spirit, not those who push you into reactions, not those who rush you into decisions. Protect your energy, protect your peace, protect your space, because a thinker knows you can't live a high-quality life surrounded by low-quality influences. What you allow around you, you allow within you. Habit 7, practicing stillness. Every day, find a moment to be still, truly still. No phone, no noise, no task. Just a moment with yourself. Stillness is where clarity lives. Stillness is where new ideas arrive. Stillness is where thinkers sharpen their minds. If you practice stillness daily, your thoughts will rise above the panic of the world. You'll think clearly, act deliberately, and move with purpose. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is strength. You don't need extraordinary talent to become a thinker. You need daily habits, simple ones, powerful ones, because your habits shape your mind. Your mind shapes your choices, and your choices shape your life. Train your thoughts, and your thoughts will transform your future. We have walked together through this journey. First, we saw the danger of reacting. Then, we discovered the power of pausing. Next, we explored how thinking builds stronger decisions and stronger lives. Then, we practiced the daily habits that train the mind. And now, we arrive at the final shift. Because knowing is not enough. Doing is what changes everything. To live as a thinker in a reactive world, you must make one final shift. You must become intentional, deliberate, unshakable. Let's be honest. The world is full of noise, opinions, expectations, criticism, pressure. People will pull you this way and that. Circumstances will try to dictate your choices. Stress will scream. Chaos will knock on your door. And the temptation to react is constant. Most people surrender. They let life push them. They let emotion guide them. They let circumstances decide their path. That is the way of the reactive life. Unplanned, uncontrolled, exhausting, unfulfilled. A true thinker steps back. Always. When the world screams, they listen. When pressure mounts, they pause. When someone pushes their buttons, they don't push back. They understand a simple truth. No one controls you, but you. The thinker chooses clarity over chaos, calm over panic, wisdom over impulse. And that choice, that small act of control, is the difference between a life led by reaction and a life led by design. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I faced a major challenge. A project I had invested in, a dream I had nurtured, suddenly faced a crisis. Everything inside me wanted to react. Frustration, anger, fear. I could feel my old habits rising, the instinct to panic, the desire to act immediately. But I remembered the lessons of thinking, pausing, reflecting, evaluating. So I stepped back. I made space. I asked myself, what's the smartest response? What aligns with my values? What decision will serve the long-term best? And in that pause, clarity arrived. I saw a path I couldn't see in the chaos. I acted deliberately, not emotionally. The outcome? Better than I imagined. Better than reacting would have produced. The crisis became an opportunity because I shifted from reacting to thinking. That's the power of the final shift. It turns chaos into strategy, pressure into opportunity. So how do you step into this power? How do you truly live as a thinker in a reactive world? Here are the keys. 1. Own your power. No one can make you angry. No one can make you panic. No one can make you act. Your reactions are yours. Your thoughts are yours. Your choices are yours. Own them. Embrace responsibility. You are in control. 2. Pause before action. Even for a second. Even for a breath. Let the space create wisdom. 3. Ask the right questions. What will this decision create? Will this align with my goals? Will this improve or harm my life? Good questions produce good thinking. Good thinking produces good results. 4. Commit to daily habits. Morning reflection. Evening review. Reading. Listening. Pausing. These habits build a mind that chooses, not reacts. 5. Live with intent. Every action intentional. Every word deliberate. Every decision aligned with your purpose. The thinker's advantage. Here's what separates the thinker from the reactor. Reactors are driven by circumstance. Thinkers are guided by purpose. Reactors chase problems. Thinkers create solutions. Reactors live for the moment. Thinkers build for the future. Reactors feel powerless. Thinkers feel empowered. And this is the final shift. From being tossed by life to being the captain of your ship. From being controlled to taking control. Living as a true thinker. Living as a thinker does not mean life is perfect. Life will still challenge you. Life will still test you. But a thinker faces challenges differently. They face them with calm, with strategy, with purpose. They see opportunities where others see problems. They see lessons where others see failures. They act with intention when others act with impulse. That is the life of a thinker. A life of strength. A life of clarity. A life of freedom. So here is the final question for you. Will you continue reacting to the noise, to the pressure, to the chaos, or will you shift? Will you pause? Will you think? Will you act with wisdom? Your life is a series of choices. Every day you choose to react or choose to think. Make the choice. Step into your power. Become the thinker, not the reactor, because the world will always be noisy. But you don't have to be. Think clearly. Act deliberately. Live intentionally. And when you do, you will become unshakable. You will become unstoppable. You will become the master of your life. Pause. Think. Act with clarity. Build a life you control. Because reactors live in chaos. Thinkers live in purpose. Choose today.